Hi, I'm Karen. We're here at Montevilla Sewing Center, and today we're talking about the Janome 634D, also known as the Janome MyLock Serger. In this video, I'm going to give you an overview of the machine. So to start with, this is where you plug in your machine, and the cord for the power and the cord for the foot control are in the same plug. Over here, right next to the plug, is your power switch. Here is your hand wheel, and of course you turn your hand wheel counterclockwise or towards you when you're making individual stitches. Up here we have the differential feed. Now the differential feed can help gather your fabric if you're trying to gather fabric, but most of the time you want it right there on 0. If you move this, you can feel it kind of wants to tend to sink down into 0. Same with the stitch length knob. 3 seems to be its sweet spot. That's where it wants to be. Over here we have the thread stand with the spool pins, and here we have the thread tree. Now the thread tree, when you're not using your machine, goes down here, but make sure you have it all the way up when you're using your serger. Here we have the standard and rolled hem switch, so if you're doing a rolled hem, you would want to move it to RH for rolled hem. Now this is the accessory box, so you can put your tweezers and other tools for your serger in that box. And this tray is here so that when those strips that, as you're serging, are cut off, they can land neatly in that tray. This comes off like this. And then you can open the door here, and there's a diagram as to how to thread this machine. Down here we have additional instructions, and of course with your machine you'll also have an instruction manual. Over here we have the lower looper and the upper looper. In here we have the cutting mechanism, the upper blade and the lower blade. Over here we have the presser foot, and then underneath the feed dogs, and there's 2 sets of feed dogs, one in back and one on front. Then we also have the needles and the other thread guides. Here we have the tension dials. So there's 4 threads involved on standard serging, so you have tension dials for each of those threads. And this is a nice, helpful drawing on each one of these, because it shows you which thread is controlled in this stitch, which thread is controlled by which thread path. As you open this up, you get to see more things. Now this knob here is for putting your upper knife down, for disengaging that upper knife and putting it back up. It's really handy to be able to do that. On certain applications, you might not want to use your knife. And also, you can have it out of the way for cleaning too. And then for changing your stitch width. Now, stitch width has to do with the distance between the stitch and the cut edge of the fabric. So with thicker, loftier fabric, you may want to have a narrower stitch width to account for that extra amount of fabric in your seam allowance. But for most normal sewing, I like to have my lower blade, about the middle of the lower blade, about even with this line right here. So for standard all-purpose sewing, that's about right. And then we also have the switch. Now I'll show you. With the knife disengaged and you push the lower blade out, you can move this here. This is for doing rolled hem. So we have a control here for rolled hem, an adjustment, and we also have this one here. That moves that stitch finger out of the way. Now when you have it engaged, that's going to make your nice flat stitch like I was showing you here. That stitch finger is necessary in order to form the stitches. Okay. Then you also have a thread cutter over here, right there on the side. That's really handy to have. And then up here we have where you can change your presser foot pressure, and that's how tightly your presser foot pushes down against the fabric. The way it is usually the way I just leave it all the time. So that's your basic overview of the Janome 634D. If you enjoyed this video and you found it helpful, give us a thumbs up. And if you have comments or questions, you can leave those in the area down below. We have lots of other videos, and so stay tuned. See you later. Bye.